puppet show. Streets feel colder, once was gold, now old. Liberty's torched, them stories left untold. Kids in the corner, eyes that gleam with fear. A dream once vibrant, now it's barely here. Politicians speak, but do they even care? Promises are empty, just smoke in the air. Empire crumbles, lines get thin. Policies bending, can't hold in. Corruption high, people sinning. Falling flags, the walls are caving in. Welcome to the Jason months. When in Rome they lace your blunts. The neighborhood's forgotten, dreams buried beneath. American promises broken like teeth. Songs of freedom echo, but where's the fight? Truth gets twisted, left lost in the night. Hands raised and voices raw, tears stream from coast to coast. We chase the American dream, but it's sold out at a price too steep. In these Jason months, we awake from the sleep. Welcome to the Jason months. When in Rome, they lace your blunts.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours, peace to you and yours, peace to you and yours. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pill. And tonight I will be joined by Brother Blue Pill, who actually will be doing tonight's show. Okay, he'll be doing part 1 of tonight's show, Diplomatic Immunity, and I will be back for part 2 mañana, tomorrow. I'll be I'll be in the building. So greetings to everybody. First and foremost, I want to say very, very, very big ups. I got to give a super duper big ups to everybody who pulled up to the presentation yesterday, When in Rome. Oh my goodness. Talk about a movie, yo. This was I was pleasantly just I was humbled, you know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? The information the sister Vicky Diller delivered, the information that Blue delivered, the information that I was able to deliver. Shit, man, it was a legendary night. And we was able to wrap it up. We didn't have the people in the building till like 2 a.m. We've done that before. The minute the show was over and I was able to gather myself and I just jumped on the internet, it was like the revelations was just there in real time, real talk. Like I saw a clip with Kamala Harris talking about the extremists. They not like us. You know what I mean? Now they're using the terminology of extremist. And if anybody caught the show Saturday Night Live, then you already know when we showed how they are, using this new propaganda with this they put out a whole article where they're calling people in this community extremists just based off of the fact that they have uh views that are different from the Democrats. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could go on for days. There's so many things that are revealing themselves. But one of the main things that popped out was today when they gave this man Donald Trump and other presidents, by the way. It's not just a Donald Trump thing. It's a result of his case. But they basically determined that all of the presidents have diplomatic immunity. Okay. And that right there fits into the When in Rome narrative in ways that y'all have no idea. I mean, it couldn't be more blatant. They're going into emperor mode. So it is what it is. You feel me? It is what it is. But like I said, we'll get into all of that. You know what I mean? We'll unpack all of these things. Yes, it was a lot of information. It was a lot of information. Feel me? But yeah, I'm waiting for Blue to pull up, and then he'll be able to take the reins for the night. I have to recharge my body and get myself together, and then I'll be back bright and early mañana and whatnot. So yeah, shout out to we got the Black Zionists in the building. Shout out to the old Teflon Don. You feel me? The old, yeah, the Teflon is definitely, this is crazy. It's to the point, it's to the point where there was a clip and they was talking about the president could get you clipped now, right? The president could literally get somebody clipped as long as it's on, as long as it's what they call state approved, and as long as it has something to do with the state, yeah, your ass is grass. You feel me? So Biden will, yeah, I guess Biden could give us, I mean, I don't know. Oh no, you know what I mean? There's a lot of implications. We're gonna go ahead and do more of the research. I'm gonna read the official judication and whatnot, so I don't have to shoot from the hip. I know exactly what they're saying versus what they're not saying. You feel me? But from the looks of things, this is unprecedented. And just in terms of being on the record, I mean, it's been what it was the whole time, but it wasn't on the record. It's on the record now. So you dig? I'm sure y'all all seen that Rick Ross got assaulted in Canada, Vancouver, out of all places. Matter of fact, let's do the roll call. Let's see who's in the building. Let's do the roll call while Blue Pill prepares himself to pull up and whatnot. Let's do the roll call. And for anybody that is inquiring, the replay is available on KTL University. Okay, the replay is available on KTL University. And for anybody that was in class last night, please check your email. Okay, you'll have an email from KTL University, which will have a link so you can sign up for free and be able to view the presentation. Okay, it's available for everybody on the replay, and you good if you got your ticket. And if you want to get your ticket, then go ahead and get your ticket. You feel me? Just go ahead and get the lecture, because it's available 4 hours and change, and it's filled with some powerful information, some powerful research. You feel me? And yeah, we got North Texas. Okay, shout out to North Texas. We got Inglewood. Okay, shout out to Inglewood in the building. British Columbia is a very nice place. Yeah, allegedly. Normal, Lamron, and we got Riverside, we got California in the building, Seattle in the building, Detroit, Michigan. What up, dope? All right. Another Detroit. What up, dope? Town business. We got Oakland in the building. Shout out to Oakland. Where's Vancouver at? Where's the Vancouver thugs at? Dallas, Fort Worth in the building. Houston. All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We got Belize in the building. Shout out to the Belize family. Spartansburg. Shout out to Spartansburg. All right. Houston. We got a problem. Houston. St. Petersburg. You dig? Thank you, Reese. Thank you for being there. I think Sunday, this was the best lecture for the year that we probably have done. So it just means that, we've been doing the good work and the people respect that. And, they are responding appropriately. So we appreciate y'all. Shreveport. Shout out to Shreveport. I believe y'all got an event coming up. The 50 Cent. I believe the what's the name of his event? That's coming up right before the 4th, I believe. No, right after the 4th of July and whatnot. So shout out to y'all. That should be major for your city. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring in the host, the guest for the evening. And yeah, let's pull them up to the stage. Blue pill in the building. Peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Peace,
All
peace.
right. Peace, peace. What's good with you?
I'm in the building. We in the building. Peace to the family. Peace, love, and light. Uh,
Yes.
was here a few hours ago. Felt like I ain't even leave. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's
Be
just an addendum, I guess. You
yes,
know,
yes.
because we woke up to some shifting pieces on the board. You know, they started Jason off with a bang, as
With a super
predicted.
bang. Bang bang.
They started Jason off with a bang. You know what I'm saying? So we're here. You know, we set the terrain and the territory. You know, um, wonderful soil bed, and now shit is starting to bud that quick. So the commentary, the insight, the observations are needed and necessary to keep in line with the conversation that was already started. That really, was amplified over here last night. For those of y'all that was in attendance, you could appreciate some of these headlines as they will be considered to be receipts in under 24 hours.
Universe is giving. Like the youth, like the youngins be saying, the universe is giving.
I'm just saying, you
So
know, and in its family, it's in alignment. Um, we have to separate, right, service, right, what you call showing up for service, with the fact that if you might see us pressing the screen more so in these 6 or 7 months, it's not because we're pressed for screen time. It's not a wanting of to be viewed or to be seen. Even it's answering a call out of necessity that there's going to be a lot more campaigning and commentary needed at this particular time. You know what I'm saying, to keep us up to date and abreast with what's going on. We are in the throes of the campaign season, and it's going to intensify. It's going to intensify from here. It's not going to slow down. So, as commentators, as journalists, specifically, myself, I'm really digging back into my journalist roots for this period of time, and I really want to stay on top of our reporting. Um, so you're going to see a lot more of me in particular on this program. Dealing with these political segments and this observational insight. I don't want to say because I'm very concerned. I don't want to use those wrong words and you know uh, uh, appear as if, yeah, there's a cause for alarm. There's a cause for concern. I would be lying to you if I said any different. So we're answering the calling. You know what I mean? Yes, the marathon definitely must continue, and we got to keep the lights on. Because we can't afford for nobody to, at this stage in the game, go to sleep at the wheel.
right.
It's a lot going on.
For sure, for sure.
It's a lot going on.
Question: do you have on the back office? You got access to what you need access to?
Um, no, I mean, I don't got access to the back office. I got access to it. I'm in the queue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh, that's the way that works. This is not Zoom. It's StreamYard, so
Okay.
it just operates in a different capacity. Um, but yeah, I mean, you in the building. You just don't want to have a conversational. You know what I mean? You're not on camera anyway.
Nah, I can't do tonight. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
get in your bag.
I don't.
We'll
Yeah. Let me see if I want to screen share. How does that work? Present. Share screen. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's. I got access to that, and
Should be good.
yeah, I got to make the best out of that.
Yes,
As
indeed.
is.
Yes, indeed. So, family, we'll be doing a part 2 tomorrow, and I will come through and add on to what the good brother has presented. You feel me? And yeah, yeah, give it up for Blue Pill, and let him do what he does naturally.
Yes, indeed. Let's hear it for Greg. Give it up. The brother has been, working arduously to make these things happen. He's more hands-on the operational side of things. So I want to salute him. We didn't have a lot of time preparing and getting together this offering. So the brother does amazing work in tight, in tight pockets of time. And often that was it used to irk me, getting thrown into the gauntlet, but it's made me a better journalist. It's made me more responsible, and I tend to even operate at this time of my life under pressure a little bit better. So yeah, I wanna definitely salute the brother and say thank you for your work. You know what I'm saying, for holding things down. But now I guess bro got a little head. You know what I mean? You got to take a little rest, recalibrate, and rebound and recharge for this road ahead. So I'm gonna hold it down tonight. We're gonna do a Melanin Monday, and I'm gonna merge it with the metaphysical Mondays, the moon days that I normally do on my IG, and we just gonna let it rip. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting to my oh, is this right and exact? Not necessarily. All right, just give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta port some of these articles over that I came across this rising. So yeah, it didn't waste any time. I woke up to the same amount of news that I guess everybody else did. And it again, yeah, the timeline wasted no time. Right away, I'm seeing things in my news feed that I'm like, you know, it was yeah, it was just speaking to the fact that we had crossed over into the month of July and things were gonna start being intensified. So the timeline was taken over by the story about the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court's ruling pertaining to Donald Trump's immunity. So let me just attempt to explain it for those that may not understand exactly what was taking place. All right, give me 1 second. They were making a ruling based on the document case, the federal document case that Trump got initially indicted for by Jack Smith, right? He has secret documents or classified documents, if you will, in his possession that should have been accounted for, right? They have to be archived and things of that nature. And he did not necessarily follow the standard procedure about protecting classified documents, right? He was in possession of classified documents and allegedly, he had no business being with them. Also, what is at hand, what he's being prosecuted for is his involvement or his inactivity about out, on or around January 6th, right? His whatever level of quote unquote responsibility falls on his shoulder as the commander in chief, right? Around January 6th. Ironically enough, today is also the day that Steve Bannon had to start reporting to prison, to federal jail, for violating a um, a subpoena around January 6th. So their position as an administration has to been, they standing on business. They're very standoffish, and they have not kowtowed. They're holding the line as it pertains to January 6th, right? They're very unapologetic. They haven't switched up. You know what I mean? So that also is what they were, quote unquote, attempting to adjudicate in the Supreme Court, right? They sent those rulings back down to the lower court and said that they're responsible for coming up with those decisions. It's not going to be something the Supreme Court is going to be responsible for. So they're passing the buck in essence. All right. Let's see if I can pull some of these articles up. Okay. Get some of these articles ready. Yeah. So the Supreme Court, ironically enough, the majority, the conservative contingency of the Supreme Court, Trump was responsible for putting them in office. So, of course, you already know what time it is. He stacked the deck, and he stacked the deck for this specific reason that they're going to be able to adjudicate in a way in which they can utilize the Supreme Court as a bully pulpit. And they've been able to effectively show you the ability to always swing the vote on this particular court when it comes around issues that are going to be voted on based on the bipartisan nature of structure of the court. So the conservatives are going to vote with the conservatives, the progressives are going to vote with the progressives. You know what I'm saying? But there's not enough progressives to sway the vote with the conservative majority, right? So a lot of their issues that they bring in front of the court are going to be eschewing if they speak specifically to the political interests of the conservatives, right? Because they have the advantage based on stacking the deck of the court. This was one of the sole purposes, specifically, that Trump's donors made a hedge or a bet on him when they brought him into, quote unquote, the presidency for the first administration. The reason that they was willing to spend so much money on him so they can capture the majority of these judicial seats, right? That he can stack the deck with federally appointed judges, and they could get control of the Supreme Court, okay, and utilize the institution of the judicial to strengthen the institution of the quote unquote, the president's office, okay. Legislative. Let's go look and see what's the three branches of government, okay? Three branches of government. Go back to school with it. Three branches of government. Right? How can you hijack a country? Is it possible based on the checks and balances? Right? What if you get 2 out of 1? So you got the executive, you got the judicial, and you got the legislative, right? So once they snatch up the executive and they utilize the quote unquote judicial to influence the legislative, right? If they got a Republican led Congress with a Republican presidency and the judicial is mainly Republican, then they're running a 3-card Monty. And this is the quote unquote future that they are laying out or detailing, that they're saying that we're heading into. This is what Project 2025 is about, how they're going to successfully lay out in the first 180 days of a second Trump presidency, how they are going to literally put together, a theocracy, right? And that document, that 999-page document, is, the way in which they plan to go about doing that, right? So let me just read something very briefly about what took place today and the precedent that they set with this particular court. Now, mind you, bar none, if we could just speak about two of the main conservatives on the court. We can go into other justices and speak about how they're compromised, but just two of the main ones. You have Judge Alito and you got Clarence Thomas, both of which have been found, to be complicit with accepting money from super donors that they have not claimed on their taxes, right? They haven't been responsible in saying, we got this bread from these donors. How do we know that that money didn't come with any concessions? How do we know that no money came from underneath the table? How do we know that you're not for sale, period, if you're showing the willingness and the ability to hide these things at such a minor level, just for you getting treats and tricks? And they fluing them out and shit like they're IG models, and their IG models on a different level, because shit is just pimpery on a different tier. So they're very complicit. Judge Alito was found flying the American flag upside down in front of his home, which is a flag that's a distress signal that is used by the quote unquote, the contingency of people that you found comprising the coalition of January 6th, right? I don't necessarily, how can you say that someone this judicial is anti government? Then what government are you speaking about? Right? Is this a question, again, that goes back to the republic versus the democracy? Is this the quote unquote real Americans taking back America from the fake Americans? Hence the fact in the movie Civil War, they ask, what kind of American are you? Right? Because that's a whole nother, that's a rabbit hole conversation that I'm sure that some people may be familiar with and others may not be. But the signs are definitely telling and they're pointing to the fact that yes, the Republicans are definitely standing up to reinstate the republic. You know what I'm saying? And they want to reconstitute the republic and institute it, you know, at this nation under the republic for which we stand, and they want to put it under God, right? But one has to ask, is your version of God their version of God? When they say God, you just can't take that for granted that that what they speaking about on the surface, it might be a different version that they are invoking, right? Which is the etymological definition of the word God is to invoke and to pour libation, right? So who are they libating and sacrificing to, and what and who are they invoking? You feel me? With these particular sacrifices, is it the God of your God, or is it that one God guy that you keep telling me about? Which one is it? The same guy that the master and the slave answer to? Feel me? So yeah, a lot going on politically, but let's take a look at what's being said in terms of diplomatic immunity for the commander in chief, the commander in chief. The United States Supreme Court has ruled that former presidents are entitled to some degree of immunity from criminal prosecution, dramatically reducing the likelihood that the federal criminal case against Donald Trump on charges he plotted to stop the transfer of power will proceed before the 2024 election. The court's conservative majority, which Trump helped create, found 6-3 that presidents were protected from prosecution for official actions that extended to the outer perimeter of his office, but could face charges for unofficial conduct, right? And that case presumably will never see the light of day. All right. And we'll just read just a little bit more. All right, because we love speaking about double and triple and quadruple standards. And it's like, damn, can somebody tell Obama like all of this strength came with the presidency? That nigga might want to run again. Knowing what he now knows about the power of the office of presidency, you feel me? He might want to motherfucking reconsider and get back up in there and get some of these goddamn powers that he never tapped into. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled, okay, we did that. All right. Trump is accused of overseeing a sprawling effort to subvert the 2020 election, including 2 counts of conspiring to obstruct the certification of the election results, conspiring to defraud the government, and conspiring to disenfranchise voters. Now, knowing what we know, seeing what we've seen, and I don't want to take the political position of even having an opinion in the matter. Um, I remember being appalled at what I was seeing on January 6th as an apolitical observer. I ain't have no pony in the race necessarily. I'm just looking at this shit and observing a double standard. Then I'm like, if those was melanated protesters, the National Guard would have been called. You know what I'm saying? They'd have scraped the floor with every last one of them. They would have called it really an insurrection and dealt with it. Like Red said last night, how they dealt with protesters. They were protesting, police massacres. You feel me? But they didn't have none of that energy. It was none of them approaches. And I just felt like that was the day that democracy died, that the whole world saw what a farce it was and the double standards that exist, you know? So regardless, I know that the job primarily of a president, of a leader, of a commander in chief, if nothing else, they have that bully pulpit because they're supposed to restore order. Here's the fact that it's the commander in chief. You know what I'm saying? The commander in chief presumably also is the highest officer in the land. So you supposed to be a super cop, not policing the planet and protecting democracy in other places that are not your own backyard, but specifically standing on the principles and the ideals that construct a sound society. Now that shit might sound like some fly jargon, but these are the principles by which they say that this thing exists and that we are, held together by, and that, this is the shit that we put our hand on our heart allegedly to pray to in this goddamn country. So when you see the things that are not in line with that, and it's so obvious, then yes, as a responsible citizen, you should be compelled to question it, because that's also one of your commands. That's also one of your charges that's written in said constitution that many of people have bled for. And look, again, if this is not your cup of tea and you're part of your conversation, then what are we even talking about? Why are you telling me to vote? Right? We all have some aspect of a civic duty to uphold, some whatever aspect of society that we want to hold intact, or that we want to improve upon, or that we feel needs improvement. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some skin up in the game to some degree. You know, this is still the place where we got to raise our babies, bury our parents. You know what I'm saying? Feed ourselves. You feel me? It's just it won't work just to have a total dismissal of the political process altogether. We have to be involved to some degree. To what degree is it's on us, right? That's where the decisions kick in. You know, what aspect of this lifting are you willing to do? But to do none whatsoever, that's not going to work going forward with what we've seen, with what we're looking at, right? I and one has to question, what I'm saying, the malleability, the culpability, and like, God, let's talk about it. Like, is this nigga for sale? Can he be manipulated? Is he for sale? Right? Or does he have his favorites? Because it be starting to look like this nigga really got it in. Like, it's starting to look like Trump must have, what I'm saying, in one of them boxes where he got secrets. He move around like he got God's secrets in one of them boxes. And God is compelled to do things for this dude that makes it look like he divinely intervenes on his behalf every chance he get. He looks like he's favored by God. So if he's building out a cult, right, and these people are actually looking for a leader, and they be like, show me a sign, God damn it, yes, it won't be hard for him to have these people do any and everything that he wants them to do, because he damn sure will be coming across looking like, you know what I'm saying, he got a messianic get out of jail free card in his back pocket somewhere that he jumped in the DeLorean and snatched up in the future and brought back here. Because I mean, look how he has these situations configuring around him to show him promise and favor. And we know what sort of dude this is. You know what I'm saying? We know what sort of dude this is. We know what team he plays for. But I'd be damned if he doesn't keep this narrative interesting. You know, every time that you think that they got him, here comes another layer of Teflon. So what we do know is that in a few days he will have to go back to Manhattan to be sentenced. And I think that we left off on our lecture here the other day. And again, knowing what we know about the fact that this is no longer a presidential campaign and he's not a presidential candidate. This person is running as a cult leader for a contingency of citizenship in this country that really want to take it all the way there. They want to take it to the tilt. They feel that they ain't got nothing to lose at this point, and it's deeper than rap for them. You know what I'm saying? It's deeper than rap for them. And they got their guy, and it looks like from all signs that he's a shoo-in, right? That he can literally just walk into the White House at this time. So if anything happens to interrupt that, how you think these people is bound to respond to that, knowing what they know and knowing what we already know about them and their unwillingness to have no respect whatsoever for quote unquote authority, right? Because they know that they got a leader that they can trust. They will go all the way there with them. They will go to the tilt. He'll never fold or fall on the sword, right? He keeps up this particular insistence of an alternative reality that he exists in. And that's where he operates from. And he makes them feel safe from that space because he'll never abandon his alternative reality, which means that he'll never abandon them. And sometimes that's all you need is that self-assurance. You feel me? Sometimes that's all you need is the self-assurance. But now what does that make him? That makes him diplomatically immune to his own karma. What do you mean, Blue? Means that, you know, what if he hasn't incurred some of those karmic paybacks, right? What if he has incurred an aspect of karmic debt, right? What if we as a captive audience are looking at someone who represents Saturn, right? Either one of these geriatric old men represent the motif of Saturn, right? And both of them represented to some aspect and degree. But when we look at Saturn retrograde, right, and what it stands for, let's pull that up real quick. And then we look at what he's currently going through. The sixth sign seeing karmic retribution during Saturn retrograde. All right. Let's go and see. What does it say? It says Saturn represents the father astrologically, and many themes are associated with responsibility and maturity when Saturn makes his transit. Although Saturn can be challenging and hold us accountable for various life lessons, he ultimately puts us back on track with what we need to learn, especially when Saturn stations retrograde. So last year was the year of accountability. And it's interesting. Let's walk through it, right? Because I was making these observations last year, specifically for the melanated man. He was called to the carpet to be accountable, right? So he can be prepared this year. You feel me? Because this is the year of judgment. Okay. This is the year of judgment. We said that at the beginning of the year. This year, by far, has been delegated for the most part or refereed by the judicial systems, right? By judicial decisions, they've been moving the needle. We've seen more activity coming from the courts this year than ever before, right? They've been more involved with the social fabric and the cultural social dynamic than I remember in a long time. Yes? Yeah, okay. Can I get an amen? So the accountability factor, we saw it start last year. It started with Will Smith first. Before it started with Diddy, it started with Will Smith around the end of August, early September, right? He was the first one that got called out and got called to the carpet. You feel me? He didn't respond too well. And the trajectory after him, it almost replicated his deflection or denial, right? And then I see him come out last night at the BET Awards with a new song. He was in the pits of hell. Literally, he emerged out of the underworld in a circled fire, coming out of hell, emerging like Hades, right? Doing what? He appeared to say, it was almost like it was a contrition rap. He was apologizing for some things that we don't know yet what he's apologizing for, right? But we saw him going through his Phoenix phase. You know what I'm saying? And we're yet to see whether he emerges from the fires of hell and becomes accountable for some things. Then we seen Usher on stage last night. Also, you know, as if he was mansplaining and speaking about this being the year, the theme of the fathers, and him getting his flowers and his awards, but visibly absent was Diddy. You know what I'm saying? So just this whole thing all year leading to this year. Remember, even with Easy the Block Captain, right? All of these opportunities for black men, melanated men in particular, to be accountable for fuck shit that they was doing that they got caught for. Yo, just be accountable, be a man, show some contrition, show how to fall on your sword and emerge from the ashes as a phoenix. Be responsible, accountability, right? Own your shit so you can move forward. We failed horribly at those lessons. And now Saturn is in retrograde, right? And the karmic cycle is here to deliver, to give. Okay? All right, oh, we got a troll in here. How you do this? How you do this? How you do this? Anyway, we got time for that. Yeah, you forgot about Diddy that quick, huh? All right. Saturn's retrograde is very different from Mercury's retrograde, right? Saturn retrograde is the time to sit back and assess where our life is headed. Think of Saturn retrograde as a mid-year check-in with the teacher or academic advisor. You both look at your classes, why you wanted to take them, how you are doing in them, and what you need to do to improve and ensure your priorities are straight. Over the next few months, Saturn will remind us of what has been causing the most drama in our lives, as if we couldn't all list 20 things off the top of our heads. Take this Saturn retrograde as an opportunity to give yourself any necessary kick in the ass you've been seeking, and also acknowledge that regardless of the ups and downs, you are still on the journey, so you can still push forward without giving up. Right? With Saturn and Pisces, the current lessons are about surrendering things out of our control, finding peace with the unknown, redefining spiritual practices and creative endeavors, embracing empathy for a neighbor, and discovering peace through closure. Okay. Let's go and see what it says about Gemini. The next few months might put a pause on your most recent ambitions. Ooh. All right. So this is what Saturn retrograde is saying. This is this pertains to the sign of Gemini. Now we will have to hyper focus and actually draw his chart and look specifically and see what it says. But let's just do a general reading. The next few months might be a pause on your most recent ambitions. This isn't to say that everything is about to go full stop, but you might find your motivation to tackle career related projects diminishing. This could come from a shift in priorities or even letting go of expectations to which no longer wish to hold yourself. Gemini, as you slow down, take time to consider what you are truly aiming for and what your profession entails beyond the menial daily work and resume builders. Make sure you feel aligned to the work or find a path to let your spirit flourish, right? So, what if this dude gets parked? You know what I'm saying? What if this dude gets parked and it slows up his campaign, it slows up his ambitions because they're like, you got a whole year to serve. You feel me? And he got to do it on Rikers Island. And maybe he might do 8 or 9 months. But they're like, damn, you're going to be, even if you get voted into president, are you going to be are you going to be doing presidency from behind the Bing, behind bars, right? They're going to move the judicial shit to New York again and set up downtown New York on Wall Street like they used to do, just so he could sign papers until he get out. Where are we headed at? Where are we going with this? This shit is crazy. Yeah, it's beyond crazy, right? What are the lengths that they're willing to go to retain control? I'm almost jealous, right? The audacity factor is mind numbing to me. That I'm like, yo, why aren't we that motherfucking gung ho? Why aren't we that, like, you gotta be like a tourist? You gotta be so bullheaded that the only thing that you see is the goal in front of you. Don't matter what else you destroy on the way to get there. You just like whatever. You know what I'm saying? I only see a path to the final. That's it. And that's how, dude is like just destroying. I mean, it's just so much going on. But the resilience, the inability to see anything other than your goals are now making the cosmos bend in your favor. Fortune favors the bold. And there's some bold ass shit taking place, right? Their level of denial of reality is by far the illest shit ever. And we're actually seeing that it comes with rewards until it comes crashing down. Because we sitting here talking about them. You feel me? And the majority of us will be doing that until November and beyond. Right? Two old white men, geezers. So yeah, these are very, very interesting times that we're in. You know what I mean? Moving forward. Again, they said Steve Bannon has to surrender and start his 4-month bid, right? Steve Bannon, that's a piece of work right there, right there. That's a piece of work. All right, let me see. And the Supreme Court also made a very monumental ruling earlier, where they said the U.S. Supreme Court throws out rulings on state laws regulating social media. So let's read into this and see what they said about this. This is interesting. Feel me? Yeah. Like I said today, Bannon reported to start serving his 4-month bid in federal prison. I think he's in Danbury. He's in Connecticut somewhere. So that's like a club fed, right? The U.S. Supreme Court on Monday threw out a pair of judicial decisions involving challenges to Republican-backed laws in Florida and Texas designed to restrict the power of social media companies to curb content that the platforms deem objectionable, right? The justices directed lower appeals courts to reconsider their decisions regarding these 2021 laws, authorizing the states to regulate the content moderation practices of large social media platforms. tech industry trade groups challenged the two laws under the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment and limits on the government's ability to restrict speech. The ruling came on the final day of the Supreme Court's term that began in October. So today was the court's final day, right? And they dropped these bombshell rulings, but they also said that the states are not responsible for content moderation on social media, right? And it's funny that the social media companies are able to take the state and the government to court, but the individual, which is the user of social media, can't take the social media company to court for the same rights that now the company is battling the government for. This shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? This shit is crazy. At issue was whether the First Amendment protects the editorial discretion of the social media platforms and prohibits governments from forcing companies to publish content against their will. The companies have said that without such discretion, including the ability to block or remove content or users, prioritize certain posts over others, or include additional context, that their websites would be overrun with spam, bullying, extremism, and hate speech. So the social media corporations are what? They're petitioning the courts and the states to say we have to have the right to fact check, to block different content from being posted. You know what I'm saying? Unplatform people that don't agree with, you know what I'm saying, our perspectives and things of that nature. All that sucker shit that they doing. You know, all of the shadow banning and things of that nature. So a lot of this stuff is blowing up in their face, and hopefully there'll be more litigation, hopefully more class action suits, so we all can get involved, you know, and start pushing back against these corporate tyrants who you know, they out here wilding, right? They out here wilding with their bully pulpits. You feel me? Okay, let me see what's the next story we got. Because it was definitely, again, it was an active day in the last day of the Supreme Courts. So they left it at that. They sent the case down to the lower courts to be decided by a melanated woman judge. Once again, this is, you know, the Trump stuff. Um, so it's back in the hands of a woman. It's back in the hands of a daughter of a Sybil. You know what I'm saying? Once again. So we'll see what comes out of this. See what comes out of this. Let's see what else. They said that the white bison that was spotted in the Yellowstone Park, they cannot find any. They can't find it. They don't know where it's at anymore. It's disappeared. You know what I'm saying? Ironically, you know, they said that it's disappeared. How you do that? Right? And the yeah, they, you know, the newspapers, they were clever enough to point out that Will Smith was utilizing the Sunday service, which would be Kanye's backup band, you know, his gospel choir. Um, you know, again, tapped in and tethered to that energy of Kanye. You know what I mean? It was a very interesting, you know, it was a very interesting song. You know what I'm saying? Will was spitting. You know, if we sit back and we look at what's about to take place, um, this resurgence of 80s and 90s icon era hip hop artists, you feel me, is something that we're looking at. LL is coming back with an album. Rakim is releasing an album. Will Smith got an album coming. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that I'm leaving some folks out. Um, yeah, it's a lot of people that's throwing their hats back in the ring, and they're making. Oh, Eminem got an album coming back out. You know what I'm saying? And these artists are, it's almost like they're getting back into art, and it's not for play. Like they're doing this for their legacies. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are throwing their arms out, throwing their shoulders out. You know what I mean? To not just get back in the game and present a project, but they getting back in the game. They competing. You know what I'm saying? They getting back on the battlefield with it. You know what I mean? To be considered one of the ones. So it's just a very interesting place right now that the music is at. And the redemptive quality of the music, for Clips. Yeah, Clips got an album coming. You know what I'm saying? The artistry, the music, the fact that when these individuals want to redeem themselves, when they want to resurrect themselves, when they want to atone, when they want to reborn themselves, they come and they do it through the medium of music. Yesterday was the 7-year anniversary of the 444 album from Jay-Z. A very monumental offering to kind of signal what post 40 rap can sound like, right? It's almost like he created a genre that still, it may struggle to produce more children and more spin-offs, but at least he set the precedent of what a post 40 album should sound like and look like. And that within itself has allowed the lights to remain on. And it's honorable in this 50th year of hip hop to see a lot of these integral artists, hip hop commercially for the most part, specifically and especially with Def Jam. This shit started with LL. You know what I'm saying? It started with LL. So to see LL coming back with a resurgence, with bars, I saw who did I see him partying with him? Oh, okay, so it was Daytwan. Shout out to my brother Daytwan. He is the publisher. He was the editor in chief of Vibe magazine. I think his name is Daytwan Thomas. If I'm, anyway, Daytwan showed on his stories he ran into LL at the YouTube Liar Cohen uh, dinner that they had the other day, and I guess he wanted him to listen to the album. They was out in LA for the BT weekend, and it looks like it appears, and they did an album listening. And I saw some of the content online on his page. Um, and yeah, LL just I seen LL in concert last year, so I already know LL is hella lit. Like he's like hella lit. When I say like he's an energy god. Like he's super youthful. Like he's super lyrically vibrant. Like when he do hip hop, it makes him younger. You could tell that. Like whenever he performs, you could tell that it takes years off of his life. That's how enthusiastic and energetic he was. He performed 2 times that night, and each one he had an hour set. That's how many hits he got, and he wasn't standing still 1 second during his set. He was bouncing all around that stage like he was 19. You feel me? So to see him come back with a ferociousness and a vigor, I remember when he ran into a brick wall over at Def Jam, dealing with Jay-Z when Jay-Z was president, and Jay-Z wasn't allocating the budget for him that he felt was respectable. And they had, they bumped heads because they got a history. I remember the same thing happened to DMX when he was over at Def Jam, and he wanted to throw in the towel because he couldn't get Jay-Z to budge. So what is the path forward for some of these artists? Some of them, again, they're artists, so they got to make art. Some of them are like we don't want to hear from such and such, and it might be that way now. You know what I'm saying? It might be that way now. Everything is subject to change. Like Drake can't find a way out. You know what I'm saying? He's stuck in a maze, he's just resurfacing and just shuffling in that one maze, hitting that one wall. He's in a corner somewhere, just stuck. He can't find a way out. I'm sure at some point, nah, I'm not sure. Um, maybe, maybe there's a way out. You know what I'm saying? Um, maybe there's a way out. Maybe not. You know, I don't think that people will want to hear from Diddy again. You know, but maybe there's a way. I have no idea. You know, these dudes are Scorpios, so it's almost like this is going and fitting perfectly into their mythos, and maybe they just may emerge as the anti-heroes because you know what I'm saying. Every graphic novel needs one, so just never know. Just never know. Um, but yeah, I look forward to hearing the projects. I heard Rakim on a song with a few other artists, and he sounds sharp. You know, he was dropping balls. I was like, okay, I want to hear more. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear him on some exciting production. I don't want it to feel like it's the '90s. Like, give me something a little more introspective. You know, go somewhere where you haven't gone before. You know, take us some place where we haven't been. Rock him. You know, it's yeah, it's been enough. It's been a long time. It's been enough time. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward. You know what I mean to being shown something totally additional, and hopefully it's not him going backwards. Like I don't need to hear him with Benny the Butcher and them chopping the bricks. Please, not in your 60s, rocking. Not in your 60s. You should have get that shit off when you was with Drake. Please, don't do it. But yeah, he has an amazing project coming. I see that I think 38 specials on the project. Planet Asia's on the project. I think Black Thought I saw should be on the project. A bunch of people. You feel me? A bunch of people. Look, Missy's going back on tour this year. You feel me? There's a lot going on in terms of the resurrection and the restoration of artistry in the 50 year going into year 51. It's bright, it's vibrant, and yeah, the culture is very expressive. I caught some segments of the BET thing last night. I'll reserve my judgment. Um, what would you say, baby? My baby says a mess. Yeah, Lauren Shabuzi, and who else? Oh, Ti daughter. I was overwhelmed with like joy. I don't even know her narrative. My my lady be sharing it with me. You know what I'm saying? I caught on mad late, but it was just something that was so lighthearted and innocent about it. And then I saw the future in her. I was like, she's gonna be a good artist going forward. Hopefully, you know what I mean. The industry is kinder to her. You know what I'm saying? Than they have been to other women artists. Um, hmm? Oh, like, is do it dirty? Is talk about it? Yeah. So yeah. So she hopefully she has a thicker skin or what have you. But her talent seems to be intact. It looked like it's bound to take her to some places. Yeah, her innocence, you know, was very refreshing. The little girl that she was performing with, they was performing like they was digging into it, like it, you know, it was really performing. Um, I saw the whole Usher speech, very interesting. He was in his bag, you know. He was talking that like power shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it seems like they all end up back home. You know what I mean? They all you run all the way around the map and all the way around the road, only to end up, you know, back where we all start. You know what I'm saying? At consciousness and the responsibility that comes with that once you become conscientious of the things that are going on in the world. the responsibility factor that you have with the things that you put out into this world, your children, you know, is it's amazing seeing these brothers and sisters mature into parents and the layers of responsibility to come with that, you know, their ability to, you know, retrograde, to go back into their past and see things and want something different. That's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? And he was speaking about his father, and he was right. You know, imagine the maze, imagine the landmine that as a melanated man you have to navigate in this country, and one mistake can cost you your freedom. One mistake can destabilize you for a period of time that can be one of those critical periods of time, you know, during your child's personal development. It could affect your child forever. You know what I'm saying? They could sit you down for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, even for some months for some people. You don't know what can happen in that time, separate from, you know, a child of yours that's coming too, that really needs your guidance and support. So, you know, he was identifying the fact that his father wasn't there for whatever reason. His mother stepped up, and he had to figure some things out on his own. And it's like he was, again, he was, you know, he was mansplaining to be like, I've made mistakes, and you know, there's been shit around, you know, corners that have been, you know what I mean? Like, things have happened. But I made a whole career out of it, and I've been able to impact the world positively. He was like, you know, I've been down, you know what I'm saying? Like, niggas wasn't fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? I got thrown away. You know, but look, I'm here. Triumphantly, I made it. You know what I'm saying? And you lick your wounds and shit, and you look around and you assess and you see who your real friends are when all of the smoke clears and they're still standing. You know what I mean? And you let go of the falsehoods, the fallacies, the shit that wasn't real to begin with, and you keep it pushing, and you stand there as an example for other people that need to draw strength from your life to say, I too can possibly do that. And you know, going forward, you know, how does somebody speak to the talent amongst our children and you know, convince them that it's going to be all right? You know what I mean? How do you positively look into the eyes of some of these children and reinforce the fact that they got talent and their talent can take them to heights? You know, where do you direct them to? Where do you direct them to? You know what I'm saying? How can you positively direct them to a path of success that totally helps them steer free of these demons that are going to be waiting along the road? Or is that just part of the game that we're just not going to be able to get away from? And it's unfortunate, especially again when those demons look like you. And the penalty should always be off with their head. And that shit don't happen. You know what I'm saying? It don't happen in the corporate industry like that. You know, these people are once again on some Trump shit. Criminals with immunity, diplomatic immunity, demons with diplomatic immunity. Feel me? And the Bible says it's gonna be hell on earth. So maybe they got diplomatic immunity down here, right? Yeah, it's their domain. Yeah, my baby said it was hell on BT. Everybody was in hell. Everybody was emerging out of hell. It was just hell colors everywhere. You know what I'm saying? That's what, you know, Lauren, she brought some of that roots and that Irie energy through there. You know, y'all have a tendency to think that she's a little long-winded. Was any of that given to y'all? Like it looked to me. I'm like, damn, is that verse in her son's song, or did she do that as a freestyle on her son's song? Because that was one hell of a. It was like 64 bars, y'all. That wasn't a 8 or a 16. She took 64 bars in the middle of that young man's song and was rapping that shit hella quick. Like it was really 100 something bars she was trying to get off. And I'm like, damn, you know, The youngster, he wanted to do it. He got to do his thing. He got a bop. You know what I mean? And I think that they look wonderful together. That was such a knowing all that she's went through, all of the challenges. Once again, all the shit that the industry throw at you, and you know the plans that it has to crush, contort, and destroy you, and the fact that she has arisen and brought it full circle. You know, just to even see her still to be able to share a stage with Wyclef, that within itself is triumphant. You know what I'm saying? Because they went through a very tumultuous period when they initially broke up. Um, but yeah, you know, all of that triumph, all of those trials and tribulations that she's been through, for her to emerge triumphantly with a son, you know, with a hit song, with a bop, you know, with a whole vibe along, you know, to go with it, man, that's some beautiful, that's poetic justice. A young Marley at that, you know, her being able to merger her DNA and her passion and her lyrical activism, right, with a Marley. Because let's be clear, she got bars. When she's spitting, she's spitting. Okay? When Lauren is rhyming, Lauren be rhyming. She's rapping, y'all. She was spitting last night. Yeah, she was on her Vaughn Benjamin Midnight shit. She was chanting. She wasn't just spitting. She was chanting down Babylon. Remember, this is the woman who went to the Vatican and set it off. Let's be clear. Then she got hit with the IRS charges. Good, yeah, she got on her Sybil bag and went to the Vatican and owned the Vatican as only the Vaticans can, as only the Sybils can. She did that, right? And the IRS is tethered to the Vatican. They're one and the same, so they attacked her with their own instrument to sit her down for her defiance as a Sybil, same way that they did with Sinead O'Connor, as you know, her rendition or version of a Sybil. Okay. So yes, that was very good to see. You know what I'm saying? Her supporting the artistry of her son, her showing the next generation, and her still having something to say, still having bars, you know, still having the passion and the fervor. You know what I'm saying? To again throw her ring in around, and you know what I'm saying? Pete Rock is coming back with an album as well with Common, right? There's a whole resurgence, and I'm sure I'm possibly missing somebody else, right? LL's coming, Rakim is coming with an album. We see Eminem, you know, for whatever, you know, better or worse, whatever that, you know, he's coming with another project. You know, just making note of the people that's returning with projects in this year 50, and they're all doing it for legacy. You know, none of it seems to be recreational or routine. They all got something to prove. They all got something to say, and yeah, that keeps the art and the craft fresh and renewed. Yes, so Common and Pete Rock are coming with the project. You know what I mean? And it sounds, it slaps. It should definitely slap. You know, I think Common is one of the ones when it comes to lyricism. I mean, straight up. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest. Um, who else? The Alchemist. Okay, well, is is Cam and Mace coming with an album? I know the Alchemist is you know releasing music with Hit Boy. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Lupe dropped something. I caught a video the other day. It was slick. Lupe's a rapping ass. You know what I'm saying? Came out. Nobody take nothing from that young man. You feel me? He got balls for days. So yeah, I see Lupe's jumping out. He got a project. Um, it's a concept album as well, dealing with Amy Winehouse. If Amy Winehouse was a battle rapper, some shit like that. Ghostface came out. Yes, Ghostface Project dropped a few weeks ago as well, and that was interesting. You know what I mean? I caught some of that. Uh, Grandmaster Cass is coming back out. Okay, okay, I'm here for that as well. Right, that's definitely time. Yeah, the common and the Pete Rock is slapping. You know what I mean? Ghostface was, from what I was hearing, it was dope as well. His he was on his pretty tone shit. His tone was a little loud on his pretty tone shit though. I think he should take it back to remember when he used to do the soul food stuff? Yeah, that was kind of slick. That was kind of slick. You know what I'm saying? What else? I feel like I'm missing one of these rappers that I was like, oh shit. I mean, RJ Payne. Let's get that man his props out the gate. You know what I'm saying? let's just clear the air right there and just put that on the record, right? RJ Payne, Hellraiser. I have not caught the entire project yet. Caught some snippets, but I already know. You know what I'm saying? With him, it's a go. It's sure shot, right? Can't miss. You feel me? He don't miss. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. So that's a sure shot right there. Um, Somebody wants me to comment on the Rick Ross situation. With all due respect to a blogger named Tisa Tells, I did see a segment of hers recently, before I jumped on here. So what I heard, I'm gonna be a little bit tainted by. Um, and what I heard her reporting is that these individuals who jumped Rick Ross have ties to a local Hells Angel gang out there in Canada. You know what I'm saying? And we know from the Family Matters video, that Aubrey be getting mixy, you know what I'm saying, with these folks. So I don't know if it was a coordinated situation or what have you, but I know that, it's stepping into a different phase, a different chapter when you put hands and feet on people, because you want to control the tempo of the drama or the beef, and you getting so touchy that people can't play music certain places. Now, Puffy started that, right? Admittingly, we now know that this happened during the time of Hit 'Em Up, and I remember distinctively that New York DJs cannot play Hit 'Em Up, right? Or they put hands and feet on you, right? I remember this. You would have to go to Harlem or the Bronx because they ain't really wasn't jacking big like that. So you would hear the music up there, but you would not hear it in Brooklyn, right? They was putting hands and feet on people, and I'm like, that's a control opposition. It's like that's not really right. You're not allowing the real true expression of the energy and the sway of the battle to express itself if you was suppressing a wave. And that's what Bad Boy did with Hit 'Em Up. They suppressed the wave in New York, and they made people go against their own personal interest. The people was like, that shit is a slap. Let me listen to it. I like it for whatever reason that I like it for. And they're like, nah, we not going with that. And then he used his, company relationships as his bully pulpit, where he told the radios and the DJs, if you play that, if you play that song, you ain't getting no more Bad Boy records. You know what I'm saying? And that was a no-go. So he shut that shit down. You know what I'm saying? Now we fast forward to this situation where, they're regulating what could be played in what region of the planet because certain audience might be touchy and take it as an affront. And now you got these European gang members putting hands and feet on a melanated rapper. And Rick Ross gotta hold his own. You feel me? You should you should be prepared and take precautionary measures when you're going into somebody else's territory thinking this shit is sweet, right? So that's something that he has to personally wear. What are you paying security for? What you got an entourage for? You should not have been caught slipping. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, it's just not a good look. You feel me? Because it proves everything that's being said about dude, that he's not from the culture. He's not one of us. He's doing goofy shit, and you're really seeing who he side with. The next thing you know, he just gonna pop up with the Mossad and just keep it. He's gonna stand all the way on business, and they're gonna show you what time it is. You fuck with him, you fucking with us, and that's really what this is about. You know what I'm saying? It should have been that from the door though, so people would have known what they was dealing with, instead of all of this goofy facade shit that has to fall by the wayside. Now you looking at what it is. Now you see it for what it is, right? His recent music collaborations. What's that lady? What's that girl name? Camila Cabello. Yeah, you know, he partnered with this self-avowed racist. You feel me? To make the latest cosplaying music that he made that was not hitting at all, that didn't stick at all. Yeah. After all of this shit, he gonna come back with a Jamaican accent and it not stick at all. It just fell flat. So he contributed to this artist's project, and the shit fell flat on his face. So the Drake effect is no longer there. The stimulus package is worn off. You know, the sentiment has changed. The tides have turned, and now he's really showing his true hand. You feel me? But the people still might not get it. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna become painfully obvious. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so I don't take any pleasure of seeing any melanated man, regardless of what capacity that they're in, be beat upon by other individuals. I don't like seeing it when it's done from us to us. I don't sit there and watch those videos. I don't watch fight films and shit like that. With especially, yeah, you know, they be sitting there watching the ghetto fights and all of that with the shorty. I don't do none of that stupidness, right? So I damn sure don't want to see no goddamn Nazis putting hands and feet on melanated people, calling them niggas. Right? That's not the form of entertainment. Again, that I hope to wake up during the first day of the Jason months and see on my phone, but that tells me specifically, gives me a clear indicator of where we're heading, especially in this country. Right? Let's talk about it. So, Oklahoma school chief says that the Bible in the classroom order was inspired by Trump. Okay. Ryan Walters says his move is aimed at providing historical context in public schools, and that he's confident the effort is legally sound, particularly given the current makeup of the Supreme Court. Right? So, what are we telling you? What have we been telling you? That the precedent has already been set for them to inaugurate and bring back the form of America that they want to make great again, that you are missing the context about what the hell they talking about, right? But it's very clear because they are actually telling you with no motherfucking you know what I'm saying? With in no uncertain terms. Are they making it clear? And they're like, yes, the version of America that they want to make great again is a neo-colonial one, you know what I mean? When they was in control, you know, and they had subservient, quote unquote, you know, servants, you feel me? And all of this they feel has been afforded and adorned to them by biblical text and scripture, okay? And they standing on business when it comes to that. Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction recently issued a directive requiring the incorporation of the Bible into curriculums. The action followed approval of a Louisiana law requiring the Ten Commandments to be displayed in all public school classrooms. In defense of the move, the Oklahoma education chief says the idea of separating church and state is a myth, and he is confident the mandate will hold up to legal scrutiny. Right? So they're again throwing their shoulders out by making these bold moves for them to get adjudicated and brought into the judicial system, for the judicial system to what, set legal precedent that now becomes law that is going to be adopted through the rest of the union. Why they utilizing Louisiana? We explained yesterday in the lecture. In 1803, when the U.S. acquired Louisiana and the Louisiana Purchase from Napoleon, they also acquired the Napoleonic Code, which was based on Roman civic law, which now allows them to implement maritime law on the land, which allows them what, to create codes, ordinances, statutes, and all of the other statutory law that they utilize to supplant common law, which allegedly really is the one that's tied ecclesiastically to the quote unquote Bible, right? That's common law. That's common law that comes from ecclesiast law, which comes directly from the Bible. But statutory law, that comes from Roman civic law. And that was adopted when they acquired Louisiana. They got the Napoleonic Code or Napoleonic Law, and they spread that, right? They went and they made markers at the top of mountains. The Navy did it to what? Put the rest of the land under maritime law, right? With, um, with the illusion as if everything over here was underwater, right? So that's how they are operating in admiralty over here, because they're operating as if we were out in the middle of the ocean dealing with Napoleonic codes. So they do it in Louisiana for that reason. So, because Louisiana is still considered U.S. territory, federal, a federalized zone. Let's just leave it at that, right? And they're adopting it, spreading it, right? So, homie from what, Oklahoma said, I'm picking it up because Louisiana did it, right? It was birthed through St. Louis on the delta of the Mississippi, and now it becomes distributed through the rest of the land, right? And they have already put their people in place in the judicial to ratify this as quote unquote law. You feel me? And this is before any administration comes in January and pushes Project 2025. It already started. It already started. You feel me? It already started. So Oklahoma top educational official says a lot of the inspiration of his order requiring public schools to integrate the Bible into classrooms instruction came from the former president and soon to be official GOP nominee for the White House, Donald Trump. Ryan Walters, a Republican elected Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction in 2022, issued a memorandum in late June requiring that schools in the state incorporate the Bible as an instructional support into the curriculum across grades 5 through 12. The directive came after Louisiana last month enacted a law requiring the Ten Commandments to be displayed in every public school classroom. Walters' move marks the latest chapter in a long-standing American debate over the relationship between religion and public schools. It also may be met with a legal challenge. The Freedom from Religion Foundation, for example, a nonprofit that aims to promote the constitutional principle of separation between church and state, right? But Walter says he feels very comfortable should a legal battle ensue. The 39-year-old, who has seen his profile grow amid the numerous culture wars taking place within the world of education, previously faced criticism for comments tied to the Tulsa race massacre and has also backed a proposal for a minute of silence for prayer or reflection in schools, along with an effort recently halted by the Oklahoma Supreme Court to establish the nation's first publicly funded religious charter school. People can be offended, people can be bothered, But what they can't do is they can't rewrite history, Walter says in defense of his Bible related move. This where we at, right? Yeah, and they're rewriting history as they go along because once again, and I showed and proved on this program, or maybe not this program, but on my live, plenty of times that this country was not founded. The founding fathers were not Christian nationalists or evangelicists or even Zionists. They were Christian deists. You know, they were Christian deists, and a deist is more like a humanist. They're more like like the conscious community, if you will. You know, they believe in the fact that there's a supreme force in nature, and let me I'll read the definition. We'll get into it right here. They don't believe in Jesus as a deific force, only as a prophet, right? What does being a deist mean? Someone who believes in a single God who created the world but does not act to influence events. The deists of the 18th century invented their own natural theology, like Jefferson, Lincoln could best be described as deists, right? So the founding fathers was not none of them things that they talk about, according to quote unquote what they was on. If that's the script they want to run with. Oh yeah, believe in a God who ain't gonna do shit, right? They like it's on you to do it. I mean, you gotta push the needle. You gotta press the line. He ain't gonna stop and intervene me from putting this motherfucking lasso on you and putting you in the field. Ain't nobody gonna intervene on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? And we got shotguns and rifles for anything and anyone that thinks they are. That's what they meant by that. Right? Believing in a single God who created the world but does not act to influence events. Deist writers denied the continuing personal involvement of God in creation. The deist God assumes no control over life, exerts no influence on natural phenomena, and gives no supernatural revelation. That's what these folks believe, right? Or that's what they came over here with. That's what they set this shit up with. You know what I'm saying? So don't attempt to switch up now because it's no longer in your favor and you want to ensue a quote unquote culture war and use woke as the scapegoat. Because that's exactly what they're doing if you read Project 2025. Right? They want an all-out war on woke, even if it comes to a physical one. Feel me? And they're utilizing these culture wars, they're scapegoating these culture wars so they can actually get at folks and finish what they started. Because they feel like the control is slipping and they feel like it's now or never. So be mindful, be assertive, you know what I'm saying? Let's look at this last story before we tap out for the evening. It's been a wonderful time that we've been able to spend. Christian warrior trainings explodes as church put faith in guns amid a surge in violent attacks, but some congregants are worried, right? Let's read this. Sheepdog Church Security, founded by Chris Maloney in 2014, is one company that trains volunteer safety and security teams to protect houses of worship while keeping faith at the center, right? You want to be open and welcoming and so forth, and yet provide the safety and security needed, he told the Idaho Statesman. So those of us who do carry firearms, we do so on a concealed basis. We have the protection we need, but yet we are not abstentious about it. Abstentiatious. The number of parishes signing up for Maloney's training has surged as religious institutions increasingly come under the threat of violent attack in America. If you just Google church security, there'll be 100,000 hits, he said. The program offers a manual on safety drills for churches and helps build out what many call safety ministries, a combination of armed and unarmed volunteers ready to respond to emergencies, be it a medical case requiring CPR or a shooter in the building. In Tennessee, one church held active shooter training for church pastors, and in Houston, spiritual leaders started getting security training after the Lakewood church shooting. Leaders at Clays Mills Baptist Church in Kentucky have also organized a security conference. Idaho, in particular, has seen a significant increase in these teams, with residents reacting to threats against churches nationwide, right? One would want to remind them about Dylan Roof and where he went into a church in South Carolina and did and killed 9 people, including a U.S. quote unquote senator. Nobody talks about that. You feel me? Nobody talks about the church that was bombed in Alabama with them 4 little girls that was quote unquote killed. So again, this Christian nationalists and evangelicals, where does it stop? Like when does church stop becoming the house of worship and prayer that's supposed to be holy and sanctified and comes under the protection of the creator? When does that stop? You feel me? When do they put the Bible down and put the white hoods on, you feel me, and get to killing other Christians? Make it make sense, right? So, you know, they're saying that, and increasingly, I must say, yeah, there has been an uptick in incidents where people have been running down on whoever's standing at that podium, and they getting right to it. They stabbing them, they shooting them, they putting paws, hands and feet on them. They doing the most. And a lot of it that they're not explaining is people coming back and expressing their anger because of the trauma that was ensued by the church. If you go ahead and, you're responsible for abusing all of these people, and you don't take no accountability and no responsibility for your actions, it's very easy to play the victim and to get security after the fact. But who is security for them children? What security you going to get to protect them babies against the sexual deviants that hide behind a cloth in the houses of worship around the world, right? Around the world. So you have a lot of nerve. And then today we saw them drop the trailer for Gladiator 2. And this particular trailer, ironically, involves Denzel Washington as a conspirator that's looking to sack Rome. So I would imagine he had to be a Moor in some capacity and possibly a Carthaginian, right? And we were evoking the Carthaginians and Hannibal and things of that nature very heavily in yesterday's presentation. Shout out to Sister Vicky Dillard and Red Pill, for bringing that connection. We all three of us, hit independently on those points, and they converged right here on this platform during yesterday's presentation. So to wake up and to see, the universe responding with those receipts, you feel me? Again, is very invigorating and inviting. You know what I'm saying? When your work can be acknowledged by the cosmos, or you can be compelled, to continue with confirmation. You know what I'm saying? So again, thank you to the universe. Thank you to the cosmos. You feel me? Thank you to the audience. Yeah, and this is just day one of the Jason months. This is just day one. This is July 1st, and it's already given. You know what I mean? Tomorrow, me and Red will converge and do a part 2 over here, and keep the conversation going. And hopefully, again, you know, have the ability to utilize this medium, this platform, to bring respectability back to the political process. I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about the importance of local politics. I want to speak about, what are our possibilities. You know what I'm saying? I never want to see us in a place where we don't have answers or we're scrambling. You know what I mean? But we don't have enough conversations about civic affairs in this country. We don't know enough about the law. We don't. We just don't. You know what I'm saying? And when I was a student of it, it's an arduous research. It's like you got to do that shit full time. I was like a law student. You know what I'm saying? I look, I was so good at defending myself in my case that after I defeated them, right, and got up out of there, they offered to send me to law school to get me, certified through the bar so I could come and work for them. I'm like, nah, you missing the whole point, my nigga. This is not what this is. This ain't that. You feel me? I'm not finna be signed up for the dark side doing y'all biddings. You know what I mean? No. I didn't beat up on y'all just to come and work for you. That's not how that works. But I love learning law, and I love, applying it when necessary, because it really is a gladiator sport. Litigation and going up in there and really getting in your bag is oh, what a feeling. It's an adrenaline rush. You feel me? But I digress. Again, I want to say thank you, and we are going to be back tomorrow with a part two of the presentation. I have my slides together, and it'll be a tighter presentation, a tighter delivery. Before I tap out, though, I am willing, to answer any questions. If you guys have any questions in the chat, I'm here for that. Let me know. Oh yeah, absolutely. I gotta tap in and see what damage Barrow has been doing to the Caribbean. Even we'll even do a breakdown on what etymologically beryl is, what stone that is, and what is that evoking. You know what I'm saying? So to the family in the Caribbean, this in the pathway of beryl, you know, um, take care of yourself. To the family that's on the Floridian coastline, be aware of the signals. Huh? Beryl is yeah. Let's look it up now. Beryl is a protective stone that I actually remember them saying in the book might even be part of the breastplate. Like that's what beryl, but I think it's just called another name. But I'm about to find out right now. Beryl meaning is greenish, a transparent pale green, blue, or yellow mineral consisting of silica or beryllium and aluminum. Let me see. Was beryl in the breastplate? Beryl biblical breastplate. All right, let's get it. Beryl is the rendering and the authorized version of the Hebrew word tarshish, a precious stone. Jewels of Tarshish. Translated, okay, topaz. All right, let me find out. The first stone in the fourth row of a high priest breastplate is beryl, right? Beryl might also be called topaz. I'm gonna find out specifically. But yeah, as I expected, it's in the breastplate. So I'm gonna find out what tribe that coincides with and everything, because that's how they lined that up. The first stone in the fourth row, right, of the high priest breastplate, Exodus 28:20. Yeah, some suspected to be the golden colored topaz, chrysolite. It was the first and the fourth row of the high priest breastplate mentioned in the foundation of the heavenly. It's mentioned in the foundation of the heavenly Jerusalem. What I was speaking about yesterday, I think in my sermon, when I was telling them that heavenly Jerusalem is a cube, of which the cubits are 144 cubits, and they laid that out in Revelation, right? But yeah, beryl, it kind of looks like citrine, the royal citrine, baby. Yeah. And it's also falling under topaz, or chrysolite, which is the modern peridot. Mm. It's a bunch of things, right? But it comes up as peridot, It comes up as topaz, but it's also called Tarshish. Yes, I would consider being an attorney um, in some capacity, and like when I'm 60 and shit like that. If we have a conscious community Supreme Court, I want to be on that. Yeah, the Elder Council. I would be interested in that. You know what I mean? I would. Terrence Howard got cooked. I didn't see that yet. I will sit down and check it out. You feel me? It's painful, but I'll check it out. You want to run for state judge? I would want to help support that. You know what I mean? Because again, as I'm looking into politics, it seems almost impossible not to engage it to some degree. I'd rather do it at a local level. You know what I mean? We need to find these small towns and tie them down and really influence the local politics of these towns. And that's kind of like, shit, we ain't got no choice at this point. We gotta have to do something. And that makes the most sense. But yeah, you wrote something? Yeah, I'm gonna check the Terrence Howard out, and I'm gonna approach it with an open mind and attempt to be as neutral as possible, right? But I know what they were going to do. I don't know if they are successful at executing it, but I knew how they was gonna come for this brother, and I knew that it was coming, at any minute. And yeah, shout out. We're gonna have these on the Cosmic Dust site as well. You know what I mean? We got that good thread, that good naga, that good stitch on that good naga. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Yeah, check us tomorrow. It'll be up there by tomorrow. We got some other flavors up there right now, but this Aztec print that'll be up there tomorrow. The Naga Aztec. You know, yeah, yeah, it's tough. You know what I mean? We just been exploring. I got the hemp one here. We got the hemp. You know what I'm saying? Keep that functional fashion going. You know, National Asiatic Galactic Association. You know what I'm saying? Just to give us that connection to the cosmos, especially for us to understand, the serpentine nature of electricity and that Naga energy. You feel me? That for those that are not terrified when it comes to that serpentine energy, because it has been castigated by the book. The Bible made it sound all bad and everything, but don't let them fool you. The Vatican, like Vicky said, the shit is dealing with the serpent divine as the seers. You know what I'm saying? Serpentine energy is just dealing with the conductivity of electricity up the spine. That's that conduit that the information flows on. Uploads and downloads, uploads and downloads, uploads and downloads. The wise serpent. Okay? Everything is just not the God and the devil and positive and negative. Like everything serves its purpose. Everything is alchemical, which means it's transmutable, which means it's usable, right? You don't got to throw nothing away. Everything's recyclable, family. All right. And with that, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you all for spending a little bit of time with us on this evening. I wish I had my stories a little bit more structured for you so I could throw stuff on the screen. I like sharing visuals and shit like that. Let me see something though before I get up out of here. Back to back, do you like that record? And yeah, and I think that because it's the accountability factor once again for melanated men in particular, and I'm not going to rule all of us out. I just we become too cool to make mistakes. We become too cool to be accountable because nobody wants to look a particular way. And young men, if you listen out there, there's nothing more manly. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing more of a sign of a man than one that knows when it's time to take responsibility. That you know that no situation is bigger than you. So you like, yeah, I fucked up over here. I made a mistake over here. I'm allowed to do that, and I'm allowed to be accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm allowed to step on my past like it's an ash and rise from that situation. That's what men do. Boys, and they hold on and shit because of their insecurities, but men step out. So I would be like, yeah, this is not manly what we're looking at. You know what I'm saying? These men, especially when you've been caught and they tell you, you know, take it to your grave and never see it, never let them see you sweat and all that other shit. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but yeah, where's it gotten you? And you've been caught red hand. Like we could see that, you know what I mean? You're guilty, you caught. Like we know, we're looking at this shit. We can see it for what it is. Stop fronting. And that message has not, for whatever reason, gotten through. And our men are not confident enough to step out and be responsible and culpable for the things that they can't control. Like, you know, the universe said it's time. You know what I'm saying? Your motherfucking ride has arrived. It's time to get in it. Your Uber's here. You feel me? So these rappers, and these you know celebrities, and different figures that we see that are very visible, right? That are making these gaffes and these mistakes, and their unwillingness to own up to anything. You know, just don't follow that shit, man. It's the blind following the blind, and it's gonna be catastrophic. You know what I mean? As we move forward, it's gonna be catastrophic because no respectable, trusted leadership can ever arise out of that. Nothing that we honor and value, nothing that we look to and we're willing to lay it on the line for. Like, these are not the pedigree of men that we see standing before us, because they don't stand for anything. But for these artists that are attempting to redeem themselves and attempting to find a way back to their center for their own personal salvation, I see them and I honor that. You know what I mean? And hopefully, you know, as a community, as a society, we can do more for them to comfort their willingness to step forward and take accountability. Hopefully we will be there for them and not chastise and castigate them. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, man, these are some interesting times. So keep your eyes wide. And again, I was saying that to say that, I do think that there's going to be a negative fallout, for what happened to Rick Ross, because, you know, I just don't see him as the individual that can stand down and de-escalate a situation, especially one that involves his ego at this particular time. Nobody's willing to willfully take a L and just lay down. And I don't think he shouldn't, what I mean, being attacked by a racist mob out in Canada, some Hell's Angels and shit like that for playing a song. Yeah, I think that that's grounds for us to have a wider conversation in the culture about the dangers of culture vulturism, especially the audacity of these vultures now to spread their wings and be like, yeah, I got control and I know it. And this is how I'm willing to show it. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool, man. That's not cool. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what we are willing to move forward. And yeah, there's bigger things that are happening in the world, and we can look at that and say it's a petty issue, but it's a nuance, it's a micro macro situation in which you allow somebody to do to you on a small scale. You're open and susceptible to allow them to do it on a larger scale. It's the nuance that's involved. You feel me? It's the nuance that's involved. And at just at some point, enough has to be enough. But, you know, fuck shit gonna happen to fuck niggas too. So we can't even be observing this outside of ourselves and expecting, what you're seeing is not you as well, right? Again, Saturn retrograde, we're going to see a lot of people being dealt their own karmic hands. Don't take it personal, even if they look like you. You know what I'm saying? Even if they got the same disposition of you, right? That can be their particular karmic debt. That can be their particular, the weight of the world that has incurred by their own particular hand playing out. So we also can't be willing to jump in front of people's bullets these days because you just don't know who called what on themselves, right? So be very mindful. Move with a aspect of discernment where you know what you're looking at. And it's very hard. We're in a season of Cancer, and I'm telling you, don't be too emotional, right? But understand where the balance of emotion is at. Because even with, if we're seeing the hurricanes happening earlier, if we're seeing the weather become more intensified, yeah, emotions are the same thing, right? So there's more of intensity. I seen so many fights yesterday on my timeline on the last day of Pride and shit like that. What happened at this parade and that parade, and the Rick Ross shit was at the end of the day. I seen people getting punched in their face literally on a timeline all day yesterday. I don't know what the hell was in the air. It was wild, aggressive. It wasn't just fuckery. It was hands and feet fuckery. Like they was popping off. Like from all the way the whole weekend, they was trying to pop off on Genocide Joe everywhere that he went with the protests. Like I just seen pure scrapping ever since the debate. Matter of fact, let's say that. Ever since the debate on my timeline, I just seen aggressive scrapping, like hands and feet. You know what I'm saying? People squaring up. And that's the energy of the atmosphere. That's what they're charging this ionosphere with based on the political discourse. What's on people's minds, what they're saying out of their mouths, what's on their hearts. Yes, the frequency wars are at an all-time high. So if you can avoid crowds, you might want to do that. Go to the beach, take a hike, take a walk, go in the forest. You know what I'm saying? Spend some time in the garden. When you in your gym, be in your zone. You feel me? Go to the pool if necessary to cool off. Whatever it is that we do to find that state of solitude where you can hear your own thoughts. That's where you should be at right now. Just checking in with yourself. Just do a temperature check and see how you are receiving and being receptive to all of these energies and all of these things that are being thrown your way. You know what I mean? I have a tendency to wake up a little bit earlier now, know that I don't feel so comfortable about Genocide Joe having nuclear codes. I get up a little bit earlier now. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't sleep as comfortably no more. Yeah, I'm like, oh shit. We on a ghost ship. Nobody's steering it. It's steering itself. We're in the middle of the cosmos and nobody's in charge, y'all. Yo, hold on, finally. Chat GPT's running this shit, y'all. I'm so through.
Y'all remember in So Clean when Snoop Dogg got too high on the mushrooms and died and nobody was flying the plane?
Nobody flying the plane. The plane. The plane. The plane is flying itself. Get your oxygen mask first because it's going down. And with that, peace, love, and light.